Premier League predictions table. We will start in the relegation battle. Now, the classic in the relegation battle, we'll put in the teams that we think are fighting for relegation. So we've got, I think Forest will be struggling, Brentford will be struggling this season, Everton have been borderline. And you always have to put, for the past 2 seasons, the newly promoted sides have all gone down. So I think this is a reasonable volley of teams, and we might as well put, I believe Brighton are going to struggle this season as well. So if we're going 13th down to 18th, who do we think out of these clubs are going through relegation? Now, straight away, I think Leicester will be borderline, but I think they'll be safe by virtue of changing their manager from someone who's too attacking to a bit more defensive, sometimes just grind out wins. And they've had some solid transfers throughout the window. I think having been in the league and with some smart transfer strategy, I think ultimately Brighton is actually too good a team to go down. I think history is on the side of Everton, having never been relegated. I don't think this is the season that they will be relegated. And then the final team I think is going to survive relegation, and this is actually depends on transfer. If Ivan Toney stays at Brentford, I think Brentford stays. But they're getting relegated next season. Do I think Forest have enough to actually make it through? That's questionable. Ultimately, I think Brentford don't have enough turnover and don't have enough revenue, as Rory Jennings does say. So I think it'll be Forest who make it through and Brentford to go down. So I'm saying Southampton, Ipswich and Brentford to go down. But Brentford do pull out results though, don't they? I don't know. I think this is going to be the order it's going to be in. I do think Ipswich will unfortunately be bottom, followed by Southampton and Brentford. Now the lower mid-table, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, so 5 teams. So I need another team in this. I think Wolves is part of this group. And I think they are on the higher end of this group. Having just made a sale, I think their finances are looking good in selling Pedro Neto to Chelsea. I think Brighton below Wolves, followed by Leicester, and I said Forest would be fighting. This is the relegation battle right here. And then I think it would be worth putting, your contenders for the top there, and then your top 4, like your big 4. Well, you say big 4, but actually currently it's more than a big 4. These are the teams that are fighting for these positions. Now, I think this season Aston Villa, Unai Emery is going to struggle, and unfortunately they're going to end up in 7th in the Conference League position with a reasonable campaign in the Champions League because Unai Emery is good with European football. Europa League, I think, is going to go to... do I think Chelsea are even going to make it here? Like, looking at how West Ham have looked pre-season, I think these teams are pretty solidly here. And then it's whether or not I think I think Tottenham are going to make top 4. Whether that's in 3rd or 4th, I'm not sure. I think United have enough squad depth with their summer transfers. And I think Newcastle will be just above United. I actually think Chelsea might actually... You know what? I said this is going to be shocking. I genuinely think Chelsea might not even beat West Ham. I think they'll be struggling for 8th. This is how I feel. And then I do think there's going to be a fall from grace from City, and I actually think it might be Liverpool 2nd, City 3rd, with Spurs scraping the 4th position. So this is what I think is going to happen. This is my Premier League prediction for the upcoming season. We're now going to the fantasy players for, I believe, the first week. So we need to submit this before Friday. And given the matches, so we'll just do a quick run through of what we think is going to happen. So Man United, Fulham, that's always a tight game actually. I think Fulham are dark horses, and I think United are in a weaker position. I think United are going to start the season with a loss, a 2-1 loss. So I think it's going to be 2-1 Fulham. I think Liverpool smash Ipswich and show them what the Premier League is all about. I think it's going to be 3-0. Equally, I think Arsenal are going to show Wolves what it's all about, and it's going to be 2-0. Everton Brighton is a relegation battle sort of already, and this screams of a sort of Sean Dyche doesn't play attacking football. Brighton are not it. I think maybe a 1-1 draw in this, and a dry 1-1 draw. Newcastle Southampton, I think Newcastle have enough cojones to really start, and they're the kind of team who have a chip on the shoulder. I think it will be Newcastle 4, Southampton 1. Forest Bournemouth at Forest at home. Forest actually have good home form, so I think we're going to have a 2-1 win to Forest. And then Villa, just before their Champions League campaign, I think beat West Ham 3-1. Brentford Crystal Palace, nobody cares about this game, but I think it will be 2-1 Palace. And this is, the master against the student. Pep versus Pep 2.0 or Pep beta version in Maresca. I don't think Chelsea have anything on City. I think it's going to be a 3-0, maybe 3-1. Let's go with 3-1 to City. And then Spurs Leicester, I think this is going to be close. I think Andrew Styles is going to leak goals this season, so I'm not picking a lot of Spurs defenders. But I think it'll be a 3-2 win to Spurs. So that's my game week 1 predictions. So goalies. So we have to kind of think tactically. Who's going to have a good goalie game? I think Arsenal are gonna have a good goalie game, and Raya's relatively cheap. So I think I'm gonna go with Raya. And then who else do I think is going to have a solid goalie game? I think Crystal Palace with Henderson is going to have a solid game. Now, having come in for forwards, it's all about goals. And I think Solanke is a sort of a shoe-in. You kind of have to go with Solanke. Then you need to look for a little bit of a bit of cheap value here. And I don't... Who do I think what is going to do quite well this season? Tony's quite expensive. Obviously everyone good's expensive. Who am I looking for? I think Spurs are going to score a lot. I think Arsenal are going to score a lot. Cody Gakpo had a really good campaign. I don't rate Jesus. I rate Isak. Isak without injury, I think is a solid shout. And then I've got 11 more players and only a 74. 11 for 74. That means six? It's like 7 average for the rest. But this is where it comes in. This is where knowledge comes in. Knowledge, power, integrity. Xerxes a 7. That's I think okay. I think Xerxes. Let's go Xerxes. Although I did say that I think Fulham's gonna lose, so maybe that was a foolish choice. Anyways, defense. Who do we think is gonna have a solid defensive game? So, Arsenal obviously. Solid in defense, with Kirill being quite a cheap option there. Wan-Bissaka is no longer a Man United player, so that's funny. Martinez always puts in a shift. I think Martinez is a solid shout. I don't think Dragic is even going to play. Timber. Where are Arsenal's players? I can't even find Arsenal's players. Where are Arsenal's players? I'm looking for like Gabriel and like Saliba. I want Saliba, basically. Kind of where I'm at. Where is Saliba? Is there a way to click on the team and sort of just say I want this? I could just search. Saliba 6, I'll take him. Always solid. Who else do I think is going to have a solid defensive game? Stones is coming off a solid season. Stones. Fullbacks. I think Trent, especially in Arne Slot's system. Is he classed as a midfielder now, Trent? No, so where is Trent? Trent Alexander-Arnold against Ipswich as well, 7k, I'll take that. And then who else do I think is going to be a solid shout? Walker, Gvardiol, Kanji's quite cheap. Romero, I think Romero is solid. Let's go with Romero. That puts me at about, I've got about 8 per midfielder. And if midfielders are expensive. Jeez. Gonna have to get some bargains in here. So I do think, unfortunately, as an Arsenal hater, Saka is going to play sick. And we've got Gordon in. Luis Diaz, I think, always puts in a good shift. Garnacho puts in a shift. How much do I have left? I've got 7.5. I think this is okay. This is a pretty sick team, I think. Jared Bowen for West Ham. Who are West Ham playing? Aston Villa. Rice. Do I put Rice? Rice? I can still afford Rice. And then who do I think out of these players is, can be upgraded? It's whether I think Garnacho is going to have a better game than, I don't know, Bowen. I think he is. There's a lot of Man United here though, huh? It's a home game though. It's at Old Trafford. Do I go? No, I don't think I take. Do I do Saka? No, I think I go Odegaard. And then I take out. I think who should I take out from these? I think I take out Xerxes, and I can afford a 9.5 up top. Who do I take up top with a 9.5? Maximize my budget. What I want is like Ollie Watkins. I think Ollie Watkins is sick. That leaves me with 0.5. I think that's solid though. Anthony Gordon, or do I take out maybe Romero and say like, no, I'm gonna keep Romero. I'm gonna keep Saliba. No, I think that's fine. Too many players selected from Arsenal. That's what's limiting me. Do I take? I think Rice for 6.5 is really cheap though. So let's pick another midfielder. That costs 9. I can pick a 9 midfielder. Do I think Foden? I think Foden is quite cheap there. I'm 0.5 over. I think Alexander-Arnold's too expensive there. And I have 6.5. I can't add in another Arsenal player though. I've already got too many. 6.5. Gvardiol. Gabriel. 6.5. Who do I want in midfield? Who do I actually want from midfield in attack as well? I think Son Solanke is going to be a sick team. So if I'm saying that and then I've got 6 to add Vardio, is that fine? That's fine. Let's enter this team name. It's so fantasy. I agree. Choose a club. Spurs. Enter squad. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.